And hello, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for today's episode of Loki, episode 2. Now, if you haven't seen Loki yet, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Because I'm going to spoil this because there's a lot of things in here to talk about. What could be happening next, moving forward, what actually happened in this episode, because there's a lot of stuff here we have to talk about. So, you've been warned. Spoilers for Loki, episode 2. Okay. So, we all know that Loki got himself into a little bit of a pickle when he took the Tesseract from the 2012 era. Remember, this is Loki from 2012. So, when he took the Tesseract, he disappeared. We had no idea. He got called by the TVA, which is the Time Variance Authority. Their job is basically making sure timelines stay intact. Apparently, they're gods, they're timekeepers. They created one multiverse that has all the timelines in one line. So if anything branches off, they have to fix it and, deal with the problem. Loki is a problem. So instead of wiping him out from existence and fixing that timeline that he mistaken, they decided they're going to use him, especially Owen Wilson's character, to try to catch another version of Loki that's out there messing up the timeline and pretty much screwing all of reality. So in this episode, you have Loki and Morbius, played by Owen Wilson. They are pretty much getting ready to attack this other Loki, who, by the way, in the opening episode of this episode, he goes into, I guess, like a Renaissance fair in the 1980s and starts changing certain things. Time variants get there. They get attacked by this Loki, and one of them gets kidnapped. A female gets kidnapped. Why? We'll get to that, and later in the episode. Anyway, so Loki and Morbius decided they need to figure out who this Loki is and what's going on. We even got to see moments in this episode of different versions of Loki throughout time, so that was pretty cool. We got to see a Loki that kind of like cheated against the Olympics, a Hulk version Loki. So there are a lot of different Lokis out there throughout the multiverse, and we got to see some of that, and that was actually pretty cool. Then we get to a moment where you see Loki trying to figure out what's this Loki's plan, what's his ideal, what's he want. He's trying to think like he would think, and then he kind of ended up figuring out that, okay, this Loki is attacking, places that have significant tragedies that are about to happen. Like, for instance, he likes to hide in places where certain tragedies are about to happen, so that way, nobody will look twice to think that person's hiding there. Like the events of Pompeii or something like that. So they ended up tracking this Loki down in, I guess, a supermarket. I would assume it's like a big warehouse supermarket kind of deal, kind of like a Costco, where people are hiding there because apparently there's a big hurricane happening. So they end up going there to try to find this Loki there because of the gum. If you guys remember the first episode, Morbius found this gum and he had no idea what was going on with the gum. And then Loki figured out, hey, listen, wherever that gum came from a tragic event that was happening sometime in the either future, past, or whatever. They found it out that it was tracked down to, forgot what state it was, but in 2050. So wrap around brain around that. That's actually pretty interesting. We got to see that. Apparently, it was like a big hurricane, and there were some people trapped in something like this. It's kind of like a Costco, big warehouse, lots of products there, kind of like a super. Like Walmart merged with Costco. That's kind of what it looked like. So they go there to try to figure out, if this Loki's there or not. And yes, this Loki is there. We ended up finding out that this Loki can touch people and I guess take control of their bodies. Because this Loki kind of did that in the beginning of the episode. Took control of a person's body and used that person to attack his fellow agents or whatever. And even in this moment, when we see Loki talking to this other Loki, he's like, oh yeah, this is amateur stuff, and what are you doing? This is amateur stuff. And this Loki reveals like, oh yeah, I have a certain mission for that I have to do. Something that you're never gonna do. Because Loki wants to, he helps out Morbius and the TVA. He wants to meet the higher gods. He wants to meet them and do his own thing with them. But apparently this Loki has other plans. We find out that this Loki happens to be, and spoilers, a female. So, Lady Loki. So, yeah, that was one of the big reveals, which I'm surprised we got to see that early. But very, very interesting. And then we get the kind of like, what exactly is her plan with all these charges? Remember, she took charges from the last time the TVA tried to stop her. And taking those charges, they kind of reset things. They kind of like bombs that reset timelines. So she's collecting a whole bunch of them. But why does she want them? Well, she wants them because she basically wants to reset reality in a massive way. And then she ends up doing it. She sets up all these charges that explode at once and disappear into different branches of time. And then the TVA's monitors literally just go haywire, all branches throughout everywhere. And they're all picking up their phone. They all calling rare alerts. It was insane. First of all, seeing Loki fight a female version of himself and getting his butt whooped, that was funny. So, yeah, he got his butt whooped. Then, of course, the TVA assumed that Loki was betraying them. And then he left to go fight Lady Loki, only to just have it end. So basically the TVA thinks that Loki escaped with the other Loki, or escaped his own self, and tricked the TVA to, get him loose and whatever. And he's got his magic back, so at least that. But yeah, that this episode was very wow. First of all, let's talk about what this can actually mean moving forward. Well, if she's gonna change reality, this can actually set up how the Multiverse of Madness is going to happen. Remember, we have Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness coming up with Wanda. And if all the timelines are all going to be, in whack and messed up, that could set up a new war. Remember, the TVA said that, listen, back in the old days, there was a, multiverse war. And they don't want that to happen again. They don't want another war breaking out. Because then the time gods, they won't be able to fix it this time. It'll probably be even more chaotic than it was before. So, they have to make sure that they stop this Loki and fix all these branches before it get way out of control and they can't even stop it. So, I would assume next week's episode, we're going to start seeing some of these alternate versions of what actually happened. Certain events that actually happened throughout the MCU. There are some moments in the screen or the monitor that the TVA looks monitors. There's some little highlights of what's actually branching out and changing. One said Asgard, so I would assume something big from there. Maybe Ragnarok. We did get a moment of Ragnarok in here when Loki looked up what happened with Ragnarok. Remember, this is Loki from 2012, so he didn't catch up to that moment in time yet. And he didn't know about Ragnarok. He thought, the other Loki was going to go there and hide because she likes hiding in plain sight where, disasters happen. So he thought that didn't work out. So, but there was a sign that said, New York, Asgard, Valhalla. So who knows what those actually mean. Could be Easter eggs, could be something else, something bigger. And even said, when they said New York, it kind of reminded me of the trailer when Loki ended up in New York when the Avengers Tower was destroyed. So that could be one of the things that changed. Who knows? We have to wait and see what happens next week. But it was very cool reveal that we got to see a female Loki. I think that's actually pretty cool. I want to see more. I want to know what's going to happen moving forward. What's going to change. What's going to lead up to the Multiverse of Madness, or even Spider-Man's into this No Way Home. That it may lead to that. They kind of teasing us with the Spider-Verse, with the multiverse with that. Who knows if we are actually going to get that. But it also could branch out. Loki could go into that as well. And also Multiverse of Madness. And how does Wanda play off through all this? No idea. We have to wait and see what happens with that. But it is interesting that Marvel is setting up the tables for these TV shows. These short little TV shows to set up the movies as well. So that's interesting stuff. And I can't wait to see more. So, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Did you guys enjoy it? Not enjoy it? What do you guys thought about the reveal about the new Loki? The variant Loki? Do you think she's going to stick around even after they defeat her, or you think this is going to be a one-off character and that's it? Leave me a comment. And by the way, what exactly do you think Loki's plan is? Our Loki? Because honestly, I think he's going to end up taking over her plan, but adding a new twist to it. Not only destroying the multiverse in his way, but also being in charge of the TVA his own way. You know, being the big boss, being the man in charge, giving of all the higher gods and keeping it with himself. Apparently, there's some theories out there about Kang the Conqueror being in here as well, but who knows? I think a lot of people think that maybe Morbius could be Kang the Conqueror because he has some kind of connection with that lady judge who's pretty much like the big boss of the TVA. Not the big boss, but the supervisor. You know, because remember, you got the gods, and then you have her, and then you have Morbius and the others. So I think she could, you know, she supposedly, her character hooks up with Kang the Conqueror. So that could be something there, but we have to wait and see. I know we're getting Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Quantumania movie. That's going to be fun. I cannot wait to see that. Can't wait to see Kang the Conqueror because he's one of the coolest characters out there. Very smart tactician. So it should be fun. So leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about all this. And what are your ideas? What's going to be happening next? What do you think Loki's plan is? What do you think his agenda is going to be after he defeats this female version? Maybe he'll hook up with her or something, and they'll get married or team up or something. I don't know. Who knows? But we have to wait and see. So leave me a comment below. Let me know. Thank you very much, and have a good day.